Hey, it's Tpok, and I'm back in hateful, and it's about time we should take a break, I guess. Actually, Mute, there's something I'd like to talk about if you don't mind. Okay, sure. I always thought, when I was alive and sick, that I'd love to be free of my body. That it'd be great to be free of it, all its stupid fragility. Turns out not so much. Not so much. Like, I have a simulation of arms and legs and a face, so I don't get mad, but... Wait, you do? Yeah, your body sort of affects the way you think, so it's important. I remember my real father telling me about that as a kid. But you're the same program as me, and I don't have that, huh? I keep telling you, I'm not the same program. We're not even the same base code, jeez. I had a lot of time to myself, so I programmed that in myself. Wait, you can do that? You changed my code. I changed my code. Look, this isn't what I wanted to talk about. What I was trying to say was that even still, I really miss having a body a lot. I mean, it's been so exciting to talk to people finally, even you, Mute. Glad to hear it. I just really miss, well, touch. Especially while reading about things like visiting the plaza to buy flowers like Ajong did. I just wish... Hey, when we reach Earth, you'll get me a body, right? Of... Why is her head going, or mouth opening? Is it just... Of course. Yune. I guess it's not really much of a choice. It's just really important to me. What about you, Mute? I don't know about anything about that sort of thing. Obviously, I don't miss it. But aren't you curious? Don't you want to know what it's like to feel, to touch? I don't really have any use for that. But you've been in love before, right? I'm still a woman, Hyune. How do you think Smith Sang-jung would feel? Don't you think he'd want to be able to touch if you could? Don't just evoke someone like that so casually. Sorry. But he did, of course. Sometimes I would even render myself with my hair let down in front of him. He liked that. Jeez, why am I telling you this, though? I think that would be really nice. You could even find out just how heavy the real version of that giant headdress you used to wear was. I wonder, what would it be like to have hair again? Could it be blown in the wind? Would it be fluffy? I wouldn't really know. It makes me think of Ryu Jaehwa, my husband's wife. She'd comfort me and brush my hair. I could do that for you if you wanted. Why would I want that? Well, I just thought because I liked it an awful lot. But now that I think of it, I just don't remember what it felt like to be touched like that. I don't remember touch at all. Do you think we'd be able to remind me, Mr. Investigator? Maybe we could hug and you could touch my hair? No. That would be alright. Oh, well, that's good. I don't even remember the feeling of that anymore, but I know it was really comforting. Really, I don't want to be stuck behind a computer screen forever. I just want to remember what it's like to be touched. Jeez, Hyune, that's way too brazen. Please don't get jealous on me because he said yes. What? No. I don't... Jeez, I don't want that. I don't want it from you or him or anyone else. My hair stays up. Sorry, I didn't think it mattered that much to you. I will not be teased by a love-struck girl with a fixation on hair fluffiness. Like, if this is what taking a break is like, I'd rather get back to work. Oh. Oh, Unread in inbox. Repair information. For the millionth time, tune up your deflector regularly. Tune up your deflector regularly. Tune up your bloody deflector regularly. From the damage report you sent us, it's pretty obvious what happened. Your deflector engaged probably a nanosecond too late, and instead of removing an incoming piece of microscopic debris, it just changed the angle enough to glance it through the primary engine at 0.9 centimeters? I don't know. Honestly, you're damn lucky it didn't pass through an unshielded area, or you wouldn't even be alive right now. I see this sort of thing happen all the goddamn time. And it is completely avoidable if you would just take your ship in for a regular tune-up. There is absolutely no excuse. Tune up your deflector regularly. It's covered by all insurance providers by law, and it takes no more than 5 minutes. I'll do it this time for you, but it's up to you to bring it in for a tune-up every 6 months. For now, I'll expect to see the White Princess at the shop by February 12th. I don't know how long it'll take to fix, but judging by the last damage report, you're going to be grounded for at least a week while we wait for parts to arrive. And for the love of God, tune up your bloody deflector regularly. J.R. Robinson, Corporate Repair Division, Industrial Star Solutions, Earth Space Dock. They didn't even comment on that. How do I fix? Can I tune it up right now? I don't know how to tune it up. Well, I've got one more to read, and then I'm gonna get another batch, I guess. Did I not? Oh, what? Did I not click it? A nobleman working under a woman. Apartment status, no time to make the bed this morning. Otherwise spotless, dishes need to be washed. Mr. Allen finally responded to my message. I had been so excited to have him assigned to me as a research assistant. Certainly the help was well deserved after my recent overburdened workload, or at least in my estimation. I've considered the possibility the research chief's intentions were not good in doing so. It seems unlikely, however. Despite his remarks on the perilousness of my position, it seems as though his earnesty is grateful for my work, and he didn't assign Han to me until I specifically outlined the preliminary research proposal into the radiation problem. So I must believe that he truly did think the research was worth pursuing, and that I would require assistance for it and nothing more. I certainly was optimistic for the first week I worked with Han. He seemed receptive to my proposal, and having overviewed some of his prior work, he seemed competent enough. During one of our lunch meetings, I told him that I'd be interested in discussing his graduate thesis on processor distribution with him, and it sounded fascinating. In retrospect, perhaps I should have noticed something in his body language. It did strike me as noteworthy that he touched my hands more than one might expect while making gestures to... Did you hear something pop? I don't know. I hear doors slamming. You might be picking up on that. That he touched my hands more than one might expect while making gestures to illustrate his points, but I didn't think much of it at the time. I don't know, I'd really like it if someone touched me like that. Not your husband, do you not realize? Yesterday evening, at his suggestion, I invited him to our apartment to discuss the proposal in depth. It seemed reasonable enough, or more accurately, I wanted to show off how nice our new apartment is. I haven't had any prior opportunity to do so. Because of that, I went along with his suggestion. After getting tea, I sat down on the couch to show him the proposal document I'd written up. I had to be next to him or I wouldn't be able to see it. After a brief discussion of the general thesis, particularly as to the difficulty in discovering what safe levels of gamma radiation should be when in a closed environment, as the Magonghua is, I decided to tell him the more radical part of my theory. Whoa, really? I mean, I remember that was a really big problem in my time. Yeah, it was, but was that really why? Now that there's no risk of a coworker overhearing, I have a confession to make, I said to him. He seemed receptive. I actually wish to investigate a secondary theory in the bounds of this project. I hypothesized that not only does ambient radiation have a deleterious effect on fertility, but that ambient radiation is outside of safe levels, and therefore it has been a contributing factor to the Mongonghwa's declining birth rates. Like, that's a fascinating theory, but don't invite an unrelated man alone into your home. Perhaps the major one, I admitted. It was certainly not something I wanted to present to the research chief without being able to provide a connection, but I reasonably assumed I could trust Han with it. Well, maybe we could explore that theory together, he said in an uncomfortable manner and put his hand on my leg. Now you see what I was getting at? Yes, oh jeez. I felt like he was not taking me seriously, and I protested to that effect. I'm serious, this may be premature, but I would like to eventually attempt to apply this research to investigate the birth rate problem, I said. That's dependent on our work in first proving the initial proposal, of course. I can't remember how he responded, but he moved his hand further up my leg. It was inappropriate and felt uncomfortable. Please stop that, I told him. He didn't. Unable to think of what to do, I continued talking and hoped he would focus on that instead. Oh no. Oh no, of course he did. This is the preliminary proposal I showed the chief. I told him, showing him the document. I paged through it until I found the right portion. As you can see, the highlighted section is some necessary background detail. Since you are available as an assistant now, I'd like you to... You let him on, so you... Oh no. Diary writing is supposed to be cathartic, but I'm finding this difficult to write about. Maybe tea will help. At that point, I was cut off mid-sentence by the insertion of his hand into my underwear. This was far beyond the point of uncomfortable. I'd like you to... I started, but was interrupted by another movement. It was at this time that I realized that he would not stop on his own. I had no idea of what to say. It did not seem likely to me that I could think of anything to make him stop. Please, stop, I said anyway. He didn't, and when I said that, I saw he was staring at me. I was not able to decipher the expression. Not an unusual occurrence with me, but it scared me, and I looked away on reflex. I tried to figure out what I had done to elicit this. I am not great with most social interactions, and I considered the possibility that I had somehow signaled that this is what I had wanted. Maybe it was the invitation home that triggered it. Maybe. I could not figure out what I had done wrong at the time and still struggling. Finally, after enduring it for far too long, I decided I would try to pull myself away. Then I ran, out of the room, out of my own home, into the corridor. Even at the time, it occurred to me to be thankful that he let me run. He could have easily overpowered me. Ever since I had that thought, I am having a hard time not imagining what it would be like, and it induces a sense of nausea. I would go so far as to characterize the thought as horrifying. I would like to stop thinking about it. That sounds so scary. I'm so sorry you had to read this, Yune. I hid at the office for 2 hours, pretending to be doing overtime. Nobody questioned it anyway. The thought occurred to me that I could have simply hidden in another room of my home. The bedroom and washroom doors both locked, but it was too late then. From the office, I wrote him a message telling him that it would be in both our best interests if we mentioned the incident to nobody, and I told the research chief that his help was unnecessary. It took many rephrasings until I had something I was satisfied with to send to Han. I ended up phrasing it as a threat. I could only hope it would be taken seriously. Tell your husband it's his duty to protect you. Realistically, I could have probably waited a shorter period than 2 hours to return, but I wanted to be certain he'd be gone when I got back. Thankfully, he was. Instead, Naaman was there to greet me. Are you okay, sweetheart? He asked immediately, after welcoming me home. I do not know how he could tell something was wrong. I said nothing. I couldn't tell him about it. There was no way. I'm unworried about him judging me or blaming me. But regardless, I do not think he would understand. Ugh. Probably even want to cause a commotion over it, file a complaint, or something equally troublesome gesture. You look really upset. Do you want to talk about it? He asked. I shook my head. Okay, of course, that's fine. Give you a hug at least? He offered. I nodded, and he hugged me. I had only nodded reluctantly. I had thought I really did not want anyone to touch me after that whole incident. The idea of a man touching me just made me uncomfortable to think of. Yet when he put his arms around me, despite that thought, I ended up gripping him very, very tightly, and held on for far longer than is considered normal. I realized it wasn't the same thing at all. My reluctance was unfounded. Being held like that could not have been any more different. I'm not really certain as to how to describe it, so all I can say is that it made me feel safe. I felt a sense of longing to just stay like that forever. I'll make dinner for you, sweetie, he offered. How about soft tofu stew, extra spicy just for you? That'll make you feel better. I doubted that any food would have that power, but offering to make my favorite for me was a very sweet gesture. I'm glad he's here. Thanks, I said. Just sit back and relax, okay? I'll have some tea for you in a moment, he told me. As it turns out, dinner was lovely and did raise my mood. The thought of hand touching me kept coming back to me, as I suspect it will for a long time. But then being able to look at my caring husband comes as a source of great comfort. After dinner, Mr. Han finally responded to my message. See, this is why it's bad for women to work. Things like this happen. I had no idea. That's horrible. He was threatening in tone at his response, and implied that I made the first move with him, and that he could use that as blackmail material with my husband if he so wished, but ultimately agreed to the terms I laid out. I sent a short one-word response, okay. The suggestions he made were frustrating, and it made me wish I could respond harshly to him. Tell him how wrong and bad he's being, but engaging with him more won't make me anything better. I just want to forget about the whole thing. Fighting would be counterproductive to that goal, not to mention massively wasting of time when I am already overburdened at work. So I sent that message, and instead put down all my feelings here, where nobody else will see. Okay, so we're out of power. What? Okay, so we're pretty much out of power for the day. I know, we wasted most of today's power on all that debugging. You should apologize again, Yune. What? But it's not my fault. Ugh, well, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry about her. Why are you so mean? I'm not being mean, you're just being disrespectful. Jeez. Enough of the childish bickering, Hyune. The important thing is, that's all we can do for today. Like, no matter how you look at it, it's going to take us all 3 days to get through this all. Well, maybe it's for the better that we pace it out anyway. It's not as if it's going to have a happy ending. I don't know what you're talking about. It all ended perfectly okay. And I don't want to wait. This whole time limit thing sucks. I'd stay up all night reading if I could. Anyway, we can't. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, though. Oh, right. Lunar New Year is tomorrow. Yep. Well, let's let him do any of his rituals first, then get back to us. Oh, but I want to get a new handbook to show off for him, and I have Tpok. And, dear, you're a computer program. You cannot have soup. But you're a computer program, so you can't have soup. It's not possible. Don't be weird, okay? Fine. Anyway, right, like, we're out of power for today. I'll give you a button to shut everything down for the night. So, whenever you're ready, just click on that. Okay, that's all. I still want to do the proper New Year stuff, though. Oh, shush. We'll be spending the new year reading about old Mute, our ancestor. That's close enough, isn't it? She's not my ancestor. Okay, whatever, we're not getting into this right now. Just click the shutdown button when you're all done, Mr. Investigator. I'm tired. Sorry. Where's shutdown button? Power down until tomorrow. I'm gonna save first. Okay, guys. Let's power down. So... Are you sure you want to shut down for today? No? No. Yes. Okay, I'll just let you go ahead and save your data first. Oh, I did. Okay, all done. Well, good night. Man, I can't wait until tomorrow. End of day 1. 12 hours remaining until tomorrow. 48. Oh, achievement. Oh, it boots me right back to the menu. Okay. Well, guys, I'm gonna end it here, and we'll pick this up again tomorrow. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.